Hey there, fellow constructors, Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to Oxygen Not Included Aquatic. Episode 13, Building the Bottom Base. So as you can see over yonder, I suppose, you guys are going to be voting for the priority. And there's a lot of options. So here we go. I'm going to play slow while you vote. So option number 1, build a recreation room. We haven't really had big morale problems in our community, but like at some point it doesn't hurt to have one. So that's on the list. We could also improve the power infrastructure. There's a few things I could do. I could tap, now that we have the ability to make rubber, I could tap more tidal springs for more reliable sources of power, or we could further improve our power infrastructure. We could build CO2 filtering. So CO2 filtering, at the moment, we have no bottom dock for the airlock. So CO2 is just kind of like pooling down here, which is fine. It's not where we usually are as dupes. But what we could do is set up the CO2 filtering so that we use our water filtration to filter the CO2 back into oxygen. We could set up the bottom exosuit dock, well, wherever it goes, but somewhere down here, so that we can explore downwards without risking the wrong kind of pressures or gases or leakages finding its way to us. We could start ranching for better food. We are technically ranching beacons, but we could do that for like food purposes so that we're not eating soda cane. One of the problems with soda cane is it requires a lot of agriculture, which is a lot of like manual labor. And then it makes you sort of slower as a result of eating it because it dehydrates you. And unless you happen to use the water cooler directly afterwards, you're going to end up with an athletics debuff. We could add more oxygen generation. The reason to that for that would be is if we intend to expand our population beyond the 4 dupes, which, you know, at some point we probably will. We're going to want none of these guys, but we would want, you know, more oxygen generation so that we don't suffocate. We could improve washroom access. So washroom access would be like putting a washroom next to the exosuit dock and the one down here, because I think if there is a rush for the bathroom, it's probably going to be around the exosuit dock areas. So we could build a massage clinic. That one's really straightforward. A massage clinic is just a way to de-stress if you have high stress. So a massage clinic down here, as you can see, is just like a small room with a massage table. And similarly, a hospital would be a small room with a dining room, toilet, medical equipment. A slightly larger than the massage clinic, but still. We could also build a proper laboratory. So this here isn't really a laboratory. I mean, it is, but like not a proper one, I would say. I mean, it's kind of jank. We can improve our storage. One of the things what we could do with our storage is automate it in a smarter way, where we use solid transport conveyor loaders and rails and chutes, so that we have sweep boxes at the outside of our airlocks that then dump everything to like a central storage type thing, which would improve our storage. I don't like to do the sort of like meta where you drop everything into a single tile for storage space. I acknowledge that it's a thing. Infinite storage in one cell, I just don't do it because it's too cheese for my likings. Or we could explore, because I am sure there are volcanoes and vents and things and new biomes. There's a lot of stuff out there that we could seek out if we wanted to. So it looks to me like CO2 filtering seems to be the popular option. Now, the only issue with that is, without knowing where our bottom dock, exosuit dock is, it's kind of hard to say where that thing should be built. So we actually have to make some choices about its build location. Feel like I'm competing with the game. Before we build the exosuit dock, or the CO2 filtering. So let's go ahead and do that. So, I had previously mentioned that I kind of like having just a natural habitat included in our base. The problem with that is we're not going to drop a ladder or a fire pole through it, right? It's kind of there now. Now, we could dig this out and have everything here dump out further down, and then this whole area becomes a void. And I'm leaning towards that because all we would really lose is a flue coral, and we would gain this whole area as the like bottom of our base. So I think what I'm going to do is offer two different choices. One is to build like the suit dock somewhere around here, keeping this water intact, this sort of like natural habitat intact, and building the suit dock so that it goes either left down this way or right and down this way, but essentially leaving the water alone. The other way is to intentionally leak out all this water into adjacent aquatic biome areas, and then using this as our suit dock area. So where to build the bottom of the base? Leave the natural habitat alone, or build the bottom where the ocean area is? Very verbose, but I want you to choose between these two. And then whatever you end up choosing dictates where the CO2 filtering is going to go. So the other things we're going to need for CO2 filtering, for the carbon skimmer. So for those that don't know, the carbon skimmer, here we go. Carbon skimmer. You intake clean water, and then it pulls in carbon dioxide from the environment. It produces heat, and then it auto outputs polluted water, not germy, but polluted water from the carbon dioxide and water input. So basically it's shoving the extra carbon into the water that then needs filtering. It's a little weird, but that's the way it works. So we're going to need to give it water. And I don't think we have a ton of water currently in our like water cycle filtration system to fully accommodate a skimmer. That would be my concern. And it looks like overwhelmingly you guys want to displace the ocean and to build the bottom here, which gives me a lot of room to work with. So I'm okay with that. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to dig a path between all of this first, and then just dump the water out, and it will fill the basins beneath. And that will be like the below our base. And the reason for all of this, of course, if, you know, because I sort of failed to mention, is CO2 settles out from oxygen. It's heavier. So it's going to be at the bottom. So basically, I can't really build a CO2 skimming system until I have a bottom area. Because until I have a bottom area, it's a moving target of where the skimming is going to occur, in other words. So yeah, that's why we need to establish the bottom of our base before I can even build a skimmer, because the bottom of our base is where the skimmer is going to have to be built. It also means that we will receive a little bit less naturally generated oxygen. I don't think it's going to cause any problems in our base, but that's technically going to be a consequence of this setup as well. I don't have an issue with that, though. Alright. Operation Megadump. It also means our pearl farm is gonna cease to be, which is also fine by me. Watch out for the clean water for the bathrooms. So in terms of the liquid water that we have here, 100% of the liquid water around here is salt water. We have fresh water here, a tiny pocket of fresh water there, a layer of polluted water on top of salt water, some fresh water there, brine down here. So this is the water overlay. So basically all of the water that we have fresh is all contained into one tight space, which is very much by design. And I am just trying to have it flow faster. We're creating like a mega ocean. Now, the only issue that I foresee here is if we do end up putting a... Oh, well, we're going to need a ladder. If we do end up putting a suit dock here, we have to then subsequently decide where we're going to excavate downwards. I'm thinking like suit dock here, ladder, and tubes and stuff down this way. Because it doesn't make sense to put it here. I don't know. I guess my biggest concern is like having the most amount of room possible going forward so that we don't have any issues of expansionism. You mean water in the filtration room? You'll have to be more specific. But also, I think it's important to use that macro too, because I suspect it's probably related to whatever you're trying to tell me. So we only really have to uproot the plants. The animals will find their way down. They'll flop around and figure out where to go. There is a pocket. There is someone in the pocket of green water near the bottom. Yes, they are asking for sushi. And what I'm trying to do is to figure out exactly where the water level will settle, to figure out where the bottom of our base will be. And I'm thinking maybe here. That gives us like an absolute ridiculous amount of space to move into. Which I'm all about. Now there is some like slime that is outgassing. That is going to be swept up so that it stops making a mess. It is not the type of like slime lung slime. But I think what I should do in this case is like, I don't know. I'm just gonna like deal with it later by putting it in a box in the seawater. The other thing I'm noticing is we're virtually out of siltstone, and I could certainly mine some more up intentionally, but we're gonna have to switch what kind of stone we're building out of soon, as I'm just like flat out of siltstone. So here, organic, slime, high priority, Sweep only. And now we'll get rid of all that slime and put it where it ought to be. So it seems to me, I'm going to be able to utilize this entire space. So let's go and put a granite floor in here. And this will represent the suit dock, where then I'll have a liquid lock here. And then a lip to prevent it from like dirty suit leakages or anything like that. Now, I don't want airflow tiles here. I want to keep the gases between the base and down here separate. So the goal right now, and really I would say, is build bottom of the base and then build the CO2 filtering. So what interestingly is going to happen is, like, we're probably not going to have a whole lot of CO2 in the base until it fills back up. But also might not be a bad idea to get like a deodorizer down here just to deal with whatever polluted. I mean, it might take a while to get rid of all the polluted oxygen, but it's something we could treat. And then this ladder obviously will be cut off from above, because this is going to be outside the suit dock. Right. Everything here on out is outside, not inside. That's going to look something like that. My worry is how far they're physically having to travel for granite. But, yeah, whatever. They'll figure it out. Yeah, that's actually probably a terrible spot for that, considering I want to drop a ladder there. I'll put the deodorizer here then. So we have this catch basin for liquids that spill. And then this will be the bottom of the base. Meaning that we're keeping slime outside the edge of the base. And it's going to be... I'm going to set it up something like that. Where it's like... everything here will be in base. And that gives me a lot of space to work with. So that I don't really have any growing pains. Because that's the other thing, is I would say the most difficult thing about Aquatic is probably how limited your build space is at the start of the game. Because the oceans take up so much room, you just don't have a lot of spots for stuff. Okay, Rayvac is going to be stuck pretty soon if the building continues, depending on the order that they build. I'll keep an eye on that. So that allows for a pretty generous suit dock here, and then like maybe a future washroom here, so that anyone going down has, you know, and also like storage or, you know, whatever else we might need. There's a lot of opportunity for a variety of different structures. So breathability still is 100%. Our food is doing okay. I'll say, like, once it gets down to maybe 30 kcal, I'll prioritize farming a little bit higher. Oh, sure, mirth. Don't forget your clams. Yes, so this plan cuts off access to all of these clams, I'm aware. We would need to dig like a tunnel between here to regain access, which is fine. Ultimately, like, I'm planning on just like combining all of these biomes so that there's freedom of movement. We're not really relying on any of these areas for, you know, for much of anything, actually. Where'd the slime go? Okay, I tidied up this. Do we even have slime anymore? Did we just... I don't know where we put the slime. That was outgassing, but it's gone. No idea. Don't forget to kill the sequine so don't eat the pearls. Yes. We'll get around to that. Now that all the oceans are combined. Okay, looks like the liquid lock is just about ready to go. So in here is going to be sweep only mucin. We'll just use a mucin lock. And I'm going to add mucin to the tract. No, not music. Mucin to the tract resources. I don't know how much mucin we have. Oh, we have a bunch. Well, not a bunch, but we have some swept here where this Sluggo is. We'll get that liquid lock in. And the liquid, I'm not setting up the exosuit dock. It's just I needed to know where the bottom is. So then the other idea is let's do an airflow tile here, actually. An airflow tile here rather than a solid tile so that the pooled carbon dioxide at the bottom of the base can move around the lock there. Oh, hello. I don't know where you came from. But your dinner now. And then we'll end up putting like a carbon skimmer here. So if we take a grand look here, our base is now clearly defined, right? This is the bottom. It includes this pool, which, for better or for worse, whatever. We could actually drop a... Oh, there is a beacon in there. Never mind. So this flue coral is producing oxygen when it's illuminated. It goes up around here, and then up here, and then that's the north top of the base, and then back down. And this is a decent amount of space, I would say. Alright, so out, coming in, is going to be fresh water. And, let's create the plumbing for that. I built it all in siltstone. Which is, honestly, I'm just going to cancel all that because I don't have the kind of siltstone for that. Let's do that in... Honestly, maybe coquina. We have so much coquina, I'm not worried about my starnacles eating it all. And then the polluted water... go up and back. Closed loop. And then, of course, we'll need, like, power. But, you know, we'll start with the plumbing. So, the way I set this up here is this this cycle can be supplied by both the pump or the reservoir of fresh water. So the other part of this is I would like to be able to... I'll just put it underwater. I'd like to be able to control this pump from automation wire. So I can decide whether I want to add more fresh water to the loop or not. No, the gap wasn't intentional, I just misclicked. Alright, and now mucin's getting dumped. So this is going to become airtight. It's already airtight, I just want more mucin, because I'm abundantly cautious. Now the priority is really just the build CO2 filtering. Where do we want to put brine? I guess I could put it back here. I'm going to dig out the sand and dump the brine back here. I don't really want to have, like, random liquids just chilling around. I know it's outside my liquid lock, but even still. The less wet surfaces I have within the base, ultimately the better. Oh, and interestingly, that's the new dump for seawater that you literally just mentioned. So if you take a look at the gas overlay, there is a tiny bit of chlorine gas that has outgassed because our dupe was hauling bleachstone and just, like, stopped mid-run. That I could always try to, like, pump out and filter at some point. I'm not too worried about it, though. And there we have a carbon skimmer. Now the other thing is the power grid. So if we open up the power grid overlay, the current potential load of this grid that it is connected to is only 830. So I think this... Whoops, that's a really messy wire. This grid could easily accommodate another carbon skimmer, and, like, it wouldn't be an issue. On top of that, I wouldn't mind having an on-off automation switch for it as well. If I ever just if I ever want to stop and do it in batches or just conserve the power, etc. Nope, someone's happy. RCV was happy, and then he was like, okay, now I have to clean this nasty up. Okay, so once the bottom pipes are built, we'll be able to run the skimmer. What project to work on next? Now that we have CO2 filtering. Well, like, hypothetically. So that's up in the polls for what I work on next. All right, at the moment, the water in the reservoir is completely germ-free. It's been internally cycling for a long time. So I'm going to start to clean it and to prepare a large supply of fresh water for the system, which is actually why I really wanted to build this, because I don't need to be actively pumping it. Unfortunately, I didn't get around to building that in time, but we're building it now at least. So here's the carbon skimmer. We'll flip it on. It pulls in fresh water and carbon dioxide and pumps out dirty water. And then that dirty water does go through the germ loop. Now, the germ loop isn't powered, so it isn't really, like, requiring any excess resources to have germ-free polluted water go through the germ loop. Like, that doesn't really matter at all to me. But yeah, slowly you'll see that red pool of carbon dioxide get chipped away. The other thing that I would like to do is to make sure I don't have any, like, holes. And by holes, I mean, like, spots where the carbon dioxide can easily pool. Like here, for instance, or here. Because if it's pooling, then it's not being filtered, and then, you know, it can cause potential issues. So, getting rid of any of these, like, pools. Now, this area specifically is, like, a slogo area, so we're going to have to kill the slogo if we want to remove the pooling. But, you know, that's the idea. And the consequence of this is, yeah, the carbon dioxide is getting handled. It's getting pulled out. Now, we definitely need more mucin. In order to fill that. Liquid lock so that it's, you know, properly filled. But yeah, I like this project, and it's going to give me a lot more room to work with too. I mean, that cannot be I can't stress how important that is in the long run. Being able to, you know, have a lot more space to build, to expand. Which will be nice. So with that slogo gone, I can, I'll just dig all that up. No real reason to keep that intact. And, yeah. When this carbon dioxide finally finds its way over to the carbon skimmer, you know, most of the carbon dioxide will pool down here. And that will handle a lot of the issues. So, taking a look at the other pooling areas, this is a potential pooling area, which is, like, technically in our base. I guess. Which I'll fix. There's a lot of weirdness about the base right now. I acknowledge. Lots of work in progress-y stuff. Oh, there we go. So the mucin lock is all set. It's full. 5 kilograms of extra mucin there, but that's all it needs. Cool. I don't know where you came from. You must, actually really don't know. And most of the CO2 pits, there's a little bit of pitting here, which can be easily solved with just an airflow tile or two here. And then now that that slogo is gone and that mineable area is gone, that isn't pooling there. So there's really no other pools in our base. Except for, technically this is within the base, awkwardly. maybe what we'll do is I'll put airflow tiles here and then dig this out so that the CO2 can stop pooling. So I'm almost done. Once we don't have any like CO2 pooling areas within the base, I'll move on to the next project. And the next project looks to be the bottom exosuit dock. A pin pocket seed. Let's look at the other dupes though. Researching, ranching, tidying, who doesn't attack and loves animals and machinery. That's not bad. Not 100% sure I need 2 researchers, though. Definitely don't need a doctor. You suck at cooking, but you build suitwear and supply. Actually, I like Devin. I'm going to go for Devin. So the current priority is CO2 filtering and bottom exosuit dock. And with that, I also want to accommodate Devin. So let's see. Where do I build your cot? This is your new bedroom. Congrats. The communal table might become an issue that we only have the one. I'll keep an eye on that. Now our total kcals are up from what they were just like a cycle or two ago, which I think means, well, some of that is just like we've been killing fish and frying it up, I'm sure. But it also might mean that we're like okay on food. So activating the giveaway for Devin. Raffle timer's up. And let's do priorities. So Devin was supply, store, doctor, tidy, and build. I am going to have them prioritize supply, store, and tidy. Basically, Jan Etor is what Devin's going to be. This is so weird. If only I could put a water turbine there and harness its perpetual motion. Alright, Mr. Devin, there you go. I might as well put a farm tile here to put the oxifern. Couldn't hurt. Well, that's probably right where the suit dock's gonna go. Never mind, I'm not gonna bother. But this CO2 pool is almost resolved. Now that there's a vertical column here to allow the gases to settle. And airflow tile is allowing the CO2 pooled here to flow out. So over time, that ought to flow out. I'll even add another airflow tile and mine that out. Just going the extra mile. There we go. That should help. All right, cool. So I think CO2 filtering job is kind of done now. I don't foresee that there's anything else I really need to do for that. So let's go work on the southern dock. Build bottom exosuit dock. All right. Checkpoint. I'm just going to copy and paste. Flip it. Done. And then we'll do 3 suits, 3 suits. Another thing we're going to need for Devin, now I think about it, is boots. I do have the latex for that. I believe. Or rubber. Yeah, I have 300 kilograms of rubber. Thank you for watching Oxygen Not Included Aquatic, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any questions for me, let me know in the comments below. I'm not, however, looking for feedback. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow duplicates.